Hi guys, I'm sure you've watched this clip from Anthony O'Neill.
I have a child. I want to take them to Africa. You know what I'm saying? I want to take them to the motherland and let them see that, hey, we're blessed over here. But look at them. They're staying in woods and trees.
And you probably have also watched his apology video. But today I wanted to give my perspective as an African born and my thoughts on what he just said. So let's go. So this video is not really scripted, but I just scribbled some points in here on my paper, but I wanted to, it's kind of funny to me because in a way I'm surprised and not surprised about his comment. So there are two parts in his statement. The first part is that he said that he would take his child to Africa to show them, the purpose of the trip would be to show them how blessed they are here in the US and how unblessed people are in Africa. That would be the purpose of the trip. And second part of the statement that I found kind of interesting is that he said that Africans would live in the woods and the trees. I don't know anyone anywhere in the world who lives in trees. I mean, even if you go to the Amazon, they have houses. Sure, it might not be brick and cement houses, but they have shelter. It's not just like living in the trees, right? It's not Tarzan or, any kind of show that. So I don't know why. So the funny part to me is that he seems to be educated. And by educated, I put on quote because education can mean a lot of things. He seems to be let me say that, a smart man, okay? That makes wise choices in terms of finances, okay? But that doesn't mean that he is general culture smart. That means that he has and I mean, I don't know him personally, so I'm just making assumptions, but that he would have a common knowledge of knowing that people anywhere in the world, they don't really live in trees, right? And the interesting thing to me is that for when I say common knowledge, what's common knowledge around the world might not be common knowledge to a lot of people, okay? And so I want to share a little bit of based on my experience here in the US. And I've never personally been exposed or been asked, for example, if I had a lion at home or if I had an elephant in my backyard. A lot of Africans are asked that when they come to the US, right? Me personally, I've never been asked that. But what I've been asked a lot of times from Americans is, oh, so you come from Africa, so how do you like it here? And the way they ask the question, I'm going to assume that that's the way they ask the question, but the way I perceive it is that, how do I like it here? Basically, am I happy that I left poverty and, bad stuff there, and I'm relieved that I'm here in the US? So every time I would get that question, like, oh, you come from Africa? Oh, how is it like over there? Or, aren't you happy to be here? Or how, the way they phrase it is very interesting to me. And to me, I'm just like, it's not that different, And they're always shocked when I say, oh, it's not that different. Like, I'm not gonna go to the level of saying, oh, we have houses and we have apartments and we have cars, because I think that's just going low. That's just like, to me, again, is like the minimum knowledge that everybody should know. But I would say, oh, no, it's not that different, actually. We have a lot of things that are pretty much the same. I would always say, like, the biggest difference that I see is the portions of the food. Like, when you eat at restaurants, the portions are really big. And because I'm in Texas, that I would say that you guys have a lot of pickup truck, like a lot of big trucks. But that would be the two things that I would say in terms of differences. And people were always like shocked that I would say that, because they expect me to say, oh yeah, here you have running water and you have, you have houses. And so I never fell for that, okay? And again, I was never personally being told or asked, oh, do you have a lion at home? But I know other people who have been asked this thing, including my husband. He just confirmed earlier today. So, why is it this way? Why is it that a lot of people would ask you these questions. Well, ignorance, of course, and a lot of things is has to do with the media. How are things portrayed? How the continent is portrayed? How are Black people on the continent portrayed? Sure, that would be one thing. Education, too, the education system. So it's not just Hollywood, but the education system. And I have another example here, and I don't know if I've shared that here on the channel but I've shared it a lot among friends, and I don't have the thing here, but I kept it. And that's from my kids, was it? I think it was first or second grade assignment. So I have 4 kids, right? So when my first went into first grade, I think it was first grade. Yeah, I think first or second, I don't remember. Went into first grade, they had an assignment, they had a whole Christmas around the world activity around Christmas time, okay? So it was really cute. It was those printables about how different countries celebrate Christmas around the world. So they had, I believe they had Russia, they had Mexico, I think they had Brazil, I think they had France, they had the US, and then they had the country of Africa. And for each of these countries, they had flags, right? And for the flag of Africa, they had the flag of South Africa. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's a typo. Like maybe like the south part of the country didn't print, right? Maybe it's supposed to be South Africa, but it was just Africa. So I'm like, okay, oh well, it happens. So I opened, it was like a little passport, like at each destination, and they say what they do during Christmas time, the celebrations and all that. So I looked through all the countries and it seems accurate and everything, what they do in Russia, what kind of food they eat in Mexico and different parts of the world. I opened up the Africa passport. What do they do for Christmas? Oh, in Africa, so they didn't say Africa, they didn't say South Africa inside the passport, they say Africa. They celebrate, drum roll, Kwanzaa. And I'm like, what the heck? This is so, I don't know. I don't even have a word to say it, because the first time I heard about Kwanzaa was here in the US. We don't celebrate Kwanzaa on the continent, okay? It's an American celebration, okay? A Black American celebration. And so the whole thing is inaccurate at all different levels. So I was very, very displeased. I was pissed and everything. First thing I did, like I sent an email to the teacher, copying the principal, and I was like, y'all, this is unacceptable. You have to tell the kids the truth. This is absolutely not. I didn't hear anything back. So I'm like, okay, I'll let it go. Following year, okay, so my boys are a year apart. So, oh, surprise, same assignment, same thing. You know, like the teachers, most of the time, they use the same resources, right? Because that's just easier. Those are printables that, resources that are given to the teachers or that they share among themselves. Anyways, it's the curriculum. Christmas time comes and surprise, the same assignment. And I'm like, man, the same thing again. Africa as a country and celebrating Kwanzaa. It's so wrong at all levels. And so this time I didn't email the teacher. This time I taught my kid. This time I printed a map. It's ridiculous, but I printed a map, a word map with the continent of Africa. And then I taught my kid what we do for Christmas and where Africa is and the fact that we have 54 countries and all of that. And I told him to go and tell his teacher, this is the truth, okay? So I sent him to school to do that. I didn't hear anything back from the school, but that's what I did. So I took it upon myself to teach my kid. So fast forward 2 years later, now my girls are going into first grade. So I'm like, ooh, Christmas time is gonna come in a few months. I need to teach my kids. I need to get them prepared just in case that assignment comes again, because I think it's gonna come again, because why change? So what I did this summer, and I don't have it here, but I'm gonna show it to you. It's a fill in the blank of all the different countries on the continent. So that way they know exactly where the country is on the map and the name of the country, okay? And they understand Africa, whenever they hear Africa, is the continent, not a country, right? And they know how to explain it, okay? If they were to hear it and explain Africa as a country, as a one thing, they would be able to say, oh no, this is wrong. Actually, there are 54 countries, blah, blah. They also know where their mom is from, where their maternal grandparents are from, where their mom was born, where their dad was born, where their paternal family is from. They know all of that, okay? And so at the end of the day, when it comes to Anthony O'Neill and a lot of people, I mean, I don't even know if it saddens me more because he's black or not. I don't know. It's just, it is what it is, right? Because I'm in a lot of conversations where I hear the stupidest things about Africa, and it comes from black people, just like it can come from white people. Okay, no discrimination. It saddens me on the inside a little bit more when it comes from black people, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Okay, so but what was I gonna say? You have to, and I take it upon myself to teach my kids these things, okay? Because, oh yeah, back to Anthony O'Neill. There's one thing about taking the information as is from Hollywood, from education system, but you can also do your own research. You can do your own reading, okay? You can watch specific type of shows that will show you that Africa is not just jungles. And one thing that always, I'm not gonna say disappoint me, but kind of, because to everybody can do whatever they want to do. If you can travel, perfect. But a lot of people travel when they go to the continent, and the first thing they want to do is to go to a safari. The first thing, okay? I would say most Africans don't never go to safaris because it's like, why would you go? Anyways, side point. But most of the time, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. But to me, it's funny when, and funny, I don't mean it as funny, ha ha ha, just interesting. That when you look at all the pictures that they post, it's like, okay, the safari here, we went here, we went there, and it's more about animals, safari, nature, and less about the people, the culture, the food, the interaction, the city, the monuments, the museums. It's less about the side that most people don't know exists, okay? And so it's like Africa is just an open safari for people to come and see. Go and take pictures and then go back home, okay? I'm a little sarcastic here, obviously, but that's just how, a lot of times that's how I see it. I mean, if you look, even if you look at an example like trips or travel deals, like if you look at Secret Flying or any kind of travel deals, and they use a thumbnail or a picture for the deal. When it comes to France or Europe, they'll show like the Eiffel Tower, blah blah blah. When it's any country in Africa, what is the picture like? Ooh, gorillas. Gorillas of Rwanda. It's not going to be a monument in Rwanda. It's not going to be the people of Rwanda or the cities of Rwanda. Or it's Kenya, trip to Kenya. Ooh, it's going to be, zebras. Or, it's not going to be the people. It's not going to be a monument. It's just going to be the safari and the animals. Okay? So, yeah, at the end of the day, that was a little rant video. But at the end of the day, my mission is not really to stop or kill ignorance. I think that there's still going to be ignorance. And people choose to do what they want to do with their time and with their money, and they choose what they want to watch, what they want to listen to, what they want to believe. But my mission is just to promote my home, to promote the continent, to promote where I'm from. And people can do whatever they want to do. They can believe whatever they want to believe. They can still believe that people live in woods and trees. Yeah, there are people who live in the forest, sure. But that doesn't mean that they live in trees. And that doesn't mean that they are less blessed than you are. And that's the thing. Don't use the continent as a way to reinforce your superiority complex. Oh, they're broke there, or they're poor there, or they live in trees, or they live in the woods. Let me show you how they live there. That way you can appreciate what you have here. Oh, they don't have running water. We do. So appreciate the food that you have. That I have a problem with. Because it's not true, first of all. And it's not the right thing to do or to say. Okay, just to put yourself above other people, and the criteria of what you consider blessed are so subjective. Okay, I can be happy and really like enjoying my life to the fullest, even if I don't have electricity 24 hours, because at least I'm eating organic food. I walk around so I'm not overweight. Um, I don't have any risk of being shot by police or by, loose bullet in my neighborhood. And I'm living a full life. I don't know what this light is in there, right? So, but somebody else who doesn't have access to, so somebody else could have 24-hour electricity, running water. Ooh, running water, but is it good water? We don't know. And, but they have other issues. I mean, the truth is that a lot of people on the continent live in mansions that you would not be able to see here in the US, or would not be able to afford here in the US. And there's so many assumptions about what life is like. And that's one of the reasons why I have this channel, is to share the realities of life in different areas of the continent. And it's not what you think. It's not what World Vision shows you on TV on on Friday nights. It's not. There's some of that. But just like there's homelessness in San Francisco or in the city where you live, or, there's that part as well. But it's not just that. It's not. And people have to understand it and stop making generalizations about the continent as a whole. All right? So it's not like one is better than the other. Appreciate what you have, but you don't have to bash what other people have or don't have. And stop making assumptions about what other people, how other people live, and that they're less than you. And that's the whole problem that I have with his statement, is that he was using the continent and he wanted to show his kid once his kid is born, to go there, not so that he can understand the richness and the culture and the people and the resilience and the beauty of everything, but to show him, oh, look at that. You better be grateful, because here they live in poverty. They live in woods and trees. All right, so I think I kind of covered what I wanted to cover. Again, it's not to bash on him, but really to say I'm not surprised. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised, because you hear a lot of things similar to that. Sometimes it's a little subtle, sometimes it's a little more upfront, and it's sad. But at the end of the day, what you gonna do? Fulfill your mission, what you believe you've been put on this earth to do, and go forth. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.